The way that we have worked this out at this moment in time is that I verbally facilitate the meeting, and Suzanne takes the notes, and Benjamin kind of holds the space to make sure neither of us are missing any of those things. In this meeting and in some others, we do it some other ways. So just so that you know that that's what's going on. We're going to do the administration part of the meeting really quickly. Suzanne will take attendance based on who is here. We're not worrying about who is not here. We have set the duration of the meeting to be no longer than 90 minutes. If we are unable to finish all of our work, we will move some of it to the next meeting or to be done outside of this meeting, but we will respect people's time and be done in 90 minutes. The notes from the last meeting, I got confused because there were notes from the tutorials meeting and this meeting and the VCI meeting, and I did not get them out. So I need to ask your forgiveness, and I will get them out in time for our next meeting. In essence, we were planning the VCI meeting in our last meeting, and we had the VCI meeting, and the VCI meeting minute notes are out, but we don't have something to review at this point. Are there any announcements from outside this group that anyone wants to make at this time? Okay, I'm gonna make a really quick, short one, which doesn't have anything to do with anything except that Will Tuttle is going to be presenting near me on February 8th and 9th, and I am going to both sessions, and I'm really quite excited about it.
And I just wanted to say that I'm in the last week, 5 Christians who actually attend churches and want to introduce veganism into their churches have come forward because of various, I feel like, miraculous connections. And so I'm excited that the Compassionate Living Circles group, especially in the Christian area, which is very needed, is moving forward.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, we're going to talk about our next meetings at the end of this meeting rather than trying to schedule that now. I'm really unclear in my own mind if once a week is enough, if we're going to have to do more often than that, or if less often would actually do it. So we'll talk about that at the end of the meeting. So has everyone had the opportunity to take a look at the agenda, which is relatively short, thankfully, this time? And are there questions, reactions, additions that need to be made to the agenda?
If we do go in long conversations, could we have a 5-minute break, like around the minute 45, like right at the middle?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, stretch. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to put a timer on so that I don't forget. So that is like at 4:50 my time, so 30 minutes from now.
Excellent.
And
maybe we will be faster than that. Who knows?
it could be. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Okay. Does everyone consent to using this agenda for this meeting? And yes, okay, excellent. Then we are going to use it. So now we get to the bulk of the agenda, which is working on these tasks. So what I'd like to do is read through them first with a little bit of discussion or asking I'd like to read through the whole list first. Then I'd like to have a discussion about adding additional or asking clarifying questions about each one of them, and then begin to figure out how to answer them. So the tasks are, who will schedule and hold the tutorial to describe this process to everyone else on Basecamp? And what is our timeline for getting that done? And I actually want to add another question to that, which is, what is the scope of that tutorial? What exactly are we describing in the tutorial? The next kind of category is who's going to create the email that goes out to all of Basecamp inviting their input, who's going to send it, what's the timeline for that, where will the spreadsheet be filed so that people have access to it, who will file it there, is the spreadsheet where we will collect the questions, or is there another format to collect the questions, and can we figure out a timeline for that? And then that led me to, so we need a project plan. We need to put together the process for how we're going to complete this so that it's clear in writing about how we're going to do each step of it. So I kind of combined everything into D, and then asked, are there other questions that we need to be adding? So I'd like to open it up to a round for clarifying questions. I know, Jessica, you had a question about what the processes were that we were talking about, and we're talking about that spreadsheet with 4 parts that is to provide a framework for developing the proposal that will be presented to VCI that details our vision, mission, aims, and culture. So we're trying to go through a process where we're inviting a lot of input from across all of Basecamp, including everyone, of course, from VCI, but even from anyone within Basecamp, to help us figure out what is the VCI mission, or vision, mission, aims, and culture. And then there's a process where first you collect questions, then you synthesize them, then you answer the questions, and then you actually form a proposal. And along that way, there are consents to each of those pieces, but you'll notice that no decision has been made about the vision, mission, culture, aims, or culture. That will be a proposal that goes back to VCI for consents. So that's the whole process. And we originally thought it might be able to be done in a couple of weeks. I no longer think that. Thankfully, I said, I think it could be done that quickly. I no longer think that. I think it will take longer. And so that's kind of the summary of what I am hoping that we walk out of this meeting knowing which one of us is going to do what part of that, and that we have at least the outline. It may not be completely written, but the outline of our project plan for how we get this done. Does that make sense to people? Are there questions? Are there additions, comments? And would we like to go in rounds? Okay, Patricia?
I'm wondering if this group is, after we get done with this, is there going to be another process that we're going to figure out? And because I'm just wondering if there's any chance we could have a separate team, so it's not so hard to find things.
I'm actually not sure. I need to ask you to expound on that. So we're a separate team from VCI.
Well, what I meant is, could we have just a separate place that's somehow connected to VCI, but that's separate from, you know.
So for example, within VCI, there's the docs and files. So if we said, if we had a file titled VCI Process Proposal Group and had all the documents there, so they were all in one place, would that be helpful?
Yeah, maybe that would be helpful. So really, I'm just asking the question is, if we're going to have a lot of details, a lot of to-dos, a lot of even a calendar, a timeline, the question is, do we need our own, all those things separate so they don't get all mixed up with the VCI? And I guess that would be my question. It's kind of a suggestion, but it's a question, I guess.
So what do other people think?
May I see if I am understanding Patricia correctly? It almost sounds to me like are you saying that this process requires kind of like a own separate back of the office administrative piece that just takes care of like, when are we meeting, who's doing the notes, separately versus what the VCI, the intention and the purpose of its mission to do? It's kind of like two separate, like this is the back office thing, this is calendars and all that administrative component to run the group versus the actual mission and vision and action that the group takes.
Yeah, I mean, anything that we need the VCI, I think I'm under that. It's weird. It's like my brain doesn't feel like it's real clear. It's just like I'm listening to people in a different language, but I'm trying to stay present. Let me give you an example. Like there's teams like on Basecamp, but I know this isn't the topic, and yet it kind of feels important because if we're going to do all this, I'm seeing a lot of details that are going to need to be like, we can utilize every part of the Basecamp project management, but if it's all part of VCI, I'm wondering if some, it's going to get kind of confusing. I've already had a hard time finding where this meeting is and all this. And so I'm just wondering it was really easy for me to ask Ray, like, hey, can you just set up a team for the Compassionate Living Circles? And he just said, okay, here you go. And so is it possible that we could have, because there's teams and there's groups. So that's all I'm asking is, would it be easier if we're going to have about 100 details? Is that more clear?
Yeah. So, and Jessica was asking, did you mean that we make this group a separate project on Basecamp, and she wants to contribute? So yes, Jessica, please.
So I think, Patricia, do you mean like, so on Basecamp there are teams and then there are projects? You want this, you're asking if this can be a separate project so that we have our own page for this process work group with our own message board, campfire, etc.?
Yes. Yeah. And maybe, I don't know how it looks that this can I wish that it could be like attached to, so we're definitely, or maybe it says process group with parentheses VCI, but we might be needing to do a go around, and I know this wasn't on the agenda, so, okay, I'm done.
Right, so I don't know the software of Basecamp well enough, so this is a subgroup of VCI. So the question is, how do we make it easily findable, and how do we put all of that stuff in a single place and still be within VCI? Because this is a subgroup to VCI. So does anyone here know Basecamp well enough to know if we can do that underneath? Yes, Jessica?
To my knowledge, and I'm pretty sure this is correct, we cannot do it within VCI, but we can I can create, I'm not sure who all else here, but I can definitely create a new project and call it whatever anyone here decides for it to be called. And we can put, in parentheses, subgroup of VCI or subcircle of VCI or, any kind of name. And then I can add everyone on this call and everyone else who is in this group who's not on this call, here's Nancy. And then anyone, we can add anyone else. That can be done if y'all want to do that. If you want me to do it, then you just let me know.
All right, let's have a little bit more discussion about that. Nancy, welcome.
Hi.
We are into the meeting, and right at the moment we're talking about whether or not we should create another project within Basecamp so that we can easily find this work group's work. So I'd like to hear from other people on what you think about that. I'd like to open it up maybe for a quick round of discussion. So I'd like to just call on people to answer. And Nancy, I'm gonna hold off on you since you just got here. And I'm also gonna ask you to mute your...
I'm trying to...
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Sorry for interrupting. I just put in the chat box a link so you can go into a team I just created within Basecamp, which is called It's just a prototype, okay? It's just to see if this could help. And I don't know if Ray is going to ask questions of who created this. I hope not, but it's VCI Process Proposal Workgroup. And it's in the same, let's call it niche of where the Illuminators Climate Healers group is. So it's a team section. I see Susan already there, that she came into the group, and maybe that would help us. It is the same structure. It has a message board, to-dos, campfire, docs and files, schedule. Do you all see it?
Well, I know, oh, sorry, I'm not gonna say anything, it's not my turn. Okay.
I just went and took a look at it. So it's just another whole group. Is that the consensus does everyone think that we should go ahead and do that so that this project has its own?
I definitely think that can be helpful. Since, Patricia, you're right, not everyone might want to see that level of detail, and it allows us to keep it organized and on task there. I guess generally I'm trying to wrap my head around all the projects and teams in Basecamp already. So the fact that more, I mean, I guess I just need to get over the fact that more are going to be created, and it's messy, and that's fine. So I'm willing to give it a shot.
And one of the benefits to it is we will then eliminate that problem where we're notifying too many people.
Right. Yeah, we know we're notifying the people that want to be notified. Yeah.
Okay. So it's actually already set up, and we can start moving things into it. Are there any other comments from Jackie? Nancy, just to catch you up real quick, we're talking about having the separate group within Basecamp just for this work so that it's really easy to get to. Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment about this?
I don't know how to use Basecamp enough. I'm looking for it. I don't find it. I don't even find the VCI group itself.
So Jackie, do you have the chat box open on this screen? If you go down to the bottom of Zoom, it says chat, and if you click on that, a screen will open where people have typed some things in.
Yeah. Oh, wait,
and if you'll look from Jorge to everyone, the last thing is a link, and if you click on that link, it will take you there.
And on a separate note, Jackie, I noticed that you are not a member of the VCI Basecamp group, and
I tried to look for it so I could join, and I can't find it.
So I think I can go in and add you if you'd like to be added.
Please, yes.
Okay, yes. Yeah.
Okay, and Jessica says that Ray may want to make this a project, not a team. I will take on the responsibility to ask him how to phrase this so that it is clear that it fits within the whole scheme of Vegan World 2026 in terms of projects and task forces and study groups and teams, and make sure that we're doing that. So I will.
Sorry, like I said that I was going to message him quickly, and I just pinged him, just like to give him a heads up, because I know that he's like
oh, cool.
the webmaster or whatever the name is. So maybe he will see, oh, somebody created a team. So I just wanted to let him know quickly.
Oh, perfect.
What is it about?
I do know one time I asked him, I had an already existing group that was a project, and he was able to tell me he just switched it to a team. So if we start putting things on here, which I thought maybe during this meeting, we might start putting things. He can change it. He seems it's not a big deal. The team project, I don't really understand the difference, but it's really easy.
Okay, excellent. Then we're moving forward with that. And on my screen, interestingly, we have two Nancys. And then it looks like someone has called in. I don't know who that is. Can you let us know who's called in on the phone?
I think the call-in might be Nancy as well.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it's me. This is Nancy
Yes.
Posnack.
Okay.
I'm not at home, so I've had a little problem with the audio. So I have audio on my phone and video on my iPad.
Okay.
So there's two of me in there.
Okay.
Sorry.
I just wanted to make sure that we were acknowledging everyone that's here. Okay, so now that we know that we have a separate space where we can keep everything, that will be easier to keep it separate from VCI as a whole, let's go ahead and get back to the list of tasks that we need to figure out how to get that done. So the things that we have been asked to do or have said that we would do are to hold a tutorial where we send out a doodle to everyone on Basecamp and hold a tutorial about what this process is about so that people know what we are asking when we invite questions. Because I mean, part of that is we want to make sure that the questions relate to the vision, mission, aims, and culture of VCI, not to every question that could come up within Vegan World 2026. And then we want to have an email that probably needs to go out first that invites people to this process and tells them about that tutorial. And we need to figure out the spreadsheet. So do we want to take those one at a time, or do we want to have a discussion about this whole process? Jorge, I'm actually going to look to you because you've used the process before. Can you help us understand how you have organized this work?
Well, if we start with a very basic first step, is where are we going to store the file? Because I think it's about time that more people, at least on this work group, have access to it. So maybe that's something easy to go in rounds, like to suggest something. Usually I have used Google Drive because it allows you to collaborate real time with the people that have editing permission to it. But I don't like Excel, I don't like Google, I don't like any of this stuff. So if there's someone that knows anything better that allows us to collaborate, for example, between Sylvia and I, because we are snobby Mac users, we have the iCloud thing, and we don't use Excel, we use Numbers, which is the Apple or Mac version of Excel. So we don't need to use Google Drive or Excel. But I know that that won't work for everybody, especially with this number of people. So far, my best suggestion would be Google Drive and Excel.
Yeah, Benjamin, please.
I don't know what the solution is either. I do like the idea of potentially using Basecamp the way that we started using it to come up with the questions. So like separating the spreadsheet from Basecamp. So like, at least to begin with, it might, I don't know. Let me know if any of you think this is the case as well. So I'm imagining the spreadsheet being accessible via Google Drive to everyone on Basecamp, and then they need to know how to use the spreadsheet. So we have to create a tutorial on how to use the entire spreadsheet to begin with. However, if we break it out into like smaller chunks where, say, we create a message board post on Basecamp that allows anyone within a message board post within the larger Vegan World 2026 group that everyone has access to already. We ask them to go participate in adding questions there. And then we take the work on to bring it into the spreadsheet so that no one else really has to deal with the spreadsheet until later, or not at all. That's I'm going to get there. That to me seems like the easiest way to get everybody involved the most quickly. The other way would be just jumping right in, asking everyone to learn how to use the spreadsheet and then start participating. I guess I'm unsure, Jorge, does the spreadsheet ever, in this scenario, is the spreadsheet publicly accessible to edit? Or if someone is adding a question, do they have to go through someone who has editing capability? How does that work?
Okay, yeah, that's very important to clarify the logistics. And this is the way that it could work. I'm not saying that this is the way that it should work. I believe that so many people, like, let's go wild in our expectations and imagine 350 people wanting to participate, right? To give access to 350 people or even to 20 people would be crazy. To edit, like, they would have access to view it. For example, what you were referring to, Benjamin, to integrate Excel in Google Drive as a shared link so people get it in a post in the best location on Basecamp. So they can see the invitation to participate at least in the gathering the ask question. And they have it like on a click distance, boom, and open it, and they can view the file. So they get an understanding of what we're doing, and they can navigate, but they can't modify a thing. They can't add anything.
Gotcha.
They can anything. And then they have clear instructions written and also in the tutorial to understand how can they participate on this first step, which basically would say, you have any question about contributing to creating the vision, mission, aims, and culture of the Vegan Collective Intelligence Group, please add it in the comments on Basecamp. Okay, so imagine that times 300. So people from the process work group we are right now, we should decide, okay, how many people out of this smaller right now group want to have editing privileges or permissions on the Excel file? So we divide the work to go to the Basecamp post, copy the questions, and paste them every day or every half a day to the main file on Excel. So something like that could be worth doing. What do you guys think?
I think that is a much better plan than trying to expect 300 plus people to learn how to use Excel. And I also think that requiring people to know how to use Excel is going to intimidate some people not to submit a question. Whereas if they can just type a question, they'll type the question. But if they have to know how, and they might screw something up, and they wouldn't do that. So I think that's a really good idea. And it seems to me like, 3 or 4 people maximum having editing capacity on this spreadsheet would be enough. Other folks, what do other people think?
I like that idea, and I'm curious if the message board can like, are they going, is one message board going, I mean, how can the message board be, hello, Shankar.
Hey, sorry, just got a chance to join.
Well,
glad
welcome.
you're here.
We just noticed you coming in. Thank you.
I'm just wondering if you can give a link to people for the message board, or I know people get I get a little dizzy sometimes, like, let's see now, where is that message board? Where am I supposed to go? So is it possible to do a link to that message board so that
Yeah.
you
Yes, and can we hold, can we finish this one conversation about how many people will have access to edit, and then let's go on to the information we need to get to people in order to invite the most participation. It would be helpful for me to be able to say, we made a decision about this one thing before we move on to the next, excuse me, for the next thing.
I like the idea.
Pardon me?
No objections.
Okay, thank you. So what I'm hearing, and please, if anyone wants to change this in any way, the spreadsheet will be available for everyone to see, and there will only be 3 or 4 people who have editing capacity. We will use the message board in the process proposal team, whatever, part of Basecamp, to collect all of the questions, which is something that almost everyone on Basecamp already knows how to do. Is that an agreement that we are ready to make? And Jorge, I need to ask, do we do a consent to each of these things, or do we just talk? Do we do? All right,
Yeah,
so
we can do it visually, like this,
Yeah. Okay.
This is like go forward, not consent.
Okay.
This is consent with concerns,
Right.
and this is objection. So we can do it visually.
Yep.
And then.
Okay. Are there any other questions before we have the consent round?
Okay.
Jessica?
The thing about, if I'm understanding correctly, if you all mean to collect the questions on this team that Jorge just created from everyone in Basecamp, is that right? Okay. No, that's not right.
No. This team that I just created, it is for our work. For our work. The location for creating the post that includes the link with view to everyone permissions and the write-up and the tutorial video and all of that, that location is still to be determined.
Gotcha. So that location needs to be someplace like in Vegan World 2026 that is available to everyone easily already, and we don't have to do something special. Yes, perfect.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, okay. Is everyone, Shankar?
Yes, I just have a little bit technicality on the questions, how we ask. If something like I can mention, or if Jorge, I brought that in the meeting last time, but I realized I can directly discuss with Jorge, then discuss among our this group. That makes it easier. All I was trying to do was I am at this section. You can tell me, and if it's relevant to ask this, or you can ask me to wait. I can ask it in the next in our agenda section. I don't know if this is the correct section. I'm asking the question. All I'm trying to do is that in the spreadsheet that we have the questions, I foresee in future it's going to get complex. Questions a lot, and some might even go descriptive section, like a little bit longer. So I think what I was trying to do is we have to segment the questions in a more like a what, when, how, or that types of questions, so that it's easy to channel further to the group or any other groups, or for retrieval and
Shankara, I didn't understand that. I'm so sorry.
No problem. I can repeat.
Thank you. Thank you.
So the one common point here is we are all going to ask questions for the proposal. Any questions ranging from like what is VCI, or when, or how, or where. The questions will be, is it so, yes or no. Like though the content of the question will be different, the pattern of the question will be similar. So what we can do is we can actually predetermine the prefix of those questions. Is it a where type question? Is it a what type? So when Jorge is even writing before the question prefix is already predetermined. And I will, not everything can fit in the box. We can give another column, other drop down, so that when the complexity.
Jorge, are you?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know if everybody heard Shankar's connection cutting off. Or it was just me.
I did, but I do think I got the gist this
One thing,
time.
I will discuss in the chat with the.
Okay, I understand the
Okay.
prefix. Like you want to have like pre-structured question prefixes or something like that.
Exactly, you got
like
it.
On the Excel file, what would be the benefit to have that?
Because you will be able to easily divert those questions to the group.
I'm sorry, Shankar. You also
Could be a project timeline related.
Again.
Okay, what I will do is, I think I mentioned the point. I will not take much of the time.
Okay.
I will chat with you offline. I will
Okay.
just show a sample. If something agreeable or this thing, we can bring it even in the next meeting.
Okay.
Right.
So,
Shankar, I think we did get the gist of the question this time, and I know I'm going to keep going back to this. I'd like to get closure on this other thing that we were doing. We do have your ideas. We are not going to let them go. We're going to come back and have more conversation about them. Whether we do that today or at the next meeting, I'm not sure, but we will make sure we get back to that. And I think we did get that. So
I agree.
Back to the idea, the proposal within this group, that questions will be collected and the spreadsheet for looking at the spreadsheet will be housed within Vegan World 2026, and we will figure out exactly where that is later. And that the group that we have just created, or the team, or whatever it ends up being, is the place that we will all work, and that we will have 3 or 4 people that have editing responsibility for the spreadsheet. I would like to ask for consensus to move forward with those 2 ideas. Nancy, you got to move your thumb over. Yes, there you go. Thank you. Okay, and Jessica, you said yes. Okay, perfect. All right, now we have that settled. Thank you. That's really fabulous. So that one thing is settled, and we were asked to take a break, and my timer has gone off. So I'd like to take a short break. Is 3 minutes acceptable? 3 minutes is acceptable. Okay, excellent. So we're going to go ahead and take a 3-minute break. We'll be back. Oh, phew. Okay, and it has been 3 minutes. I would like to ask that we follow up this conversation with the conversation on who the 3 or 4 people will be who have editing capability and responsibility for the spreadsheet. Oh, Jorge is not back yet. Let's give him another, it might only be 2.5 minutes. So let's wait another 30 seconds for him to come on back.
Can I ask a quick question?
Oh, of course.
How do we add things to the agenda? And then who decides if it's going to be on the agenda?
I'm sorry, can you repeat
How do
that? There was some noise.
How do we add things to the agenda?
So primarily I do the first draft of the agenda, and then I send it to Benjamin and Suzanne for conversation, and then we send it out. Now this time it was very late just because of the way these meetings are going and timing.
Sure.
But at the beginning of the meeting, we ask for additions. So when we're asking for consent to the agenda, the first question is, are there questions, clarifications, or additions to the agenda?
Oh, okay.
So at the beginning, so you are free to ping us with can we add this to the agenda at any time, and we'll try and do that. But the last opportunity is literally when we do the consent for the agenda.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so I wanted to go ahead and finish deciding who will have the authority to edit the spreadsheet or responsibility to edit the spreadsheet. And I'm wondering if we ask for volunteers or if we nominate people, or how we should go about doing this. And again, Jorge, you're the person with the experience of doing this, so I'm going to ask you how that normally is done.
Okay. I was distracted and I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. So what I would like to do as a part of figuring this piece out, and perhaps we can wait. So tell me if we should wait on this. Anyone can tell me if we should wait on this. I'm thinking that the next step is to decide who the 3 or 4 people are who will have access and authority and responsibility to edit the spreadsheet. And I'm wondering if we do that through a volunteering process or through nominations. How do we figure out who those people are going to be?
Okay, so this would be like a specific role, right? And the specific role needs to have technical savviness, because the Google Drive interface is terrible. You need to be able to adjust it and know how to move it. So maybe it's some technical Excel proficiency and knowing how to give permission to have editing privileges and all of that. Like that, those kind of things would be part of the role description, like to know how to use Excel and also how to share files on the cloud, on the Google Drive, how to protect them, how to duplicate them. These things will be the technical aspects. And the other requirement would be maybe time availability, because it's not only, oh, I have access, but you need to have the time to coordinate with the other people that will have editing permission. So the gathering of the questions daily are not left unattended. and they're not duplicated, and people that, maybe the word that I'm looking for is like very thorough managing copy pasting and being able to create maybe daily backups and stuff like that, just in case, no? So technical
Being
requirements
very
and time
detailed.
availability.
I'm sorry, Jorge. I was going to add something, but please continue.
No, I was just like summing up, repeating myself.
Well, the attention to detail is a piece of this for sure. So we basically have a job description that says technical Excel expertise, the ability to share files on Google Drive, the time and ability to coordinate with the other people who have the editing responsibilities, and that the person be very detail oriented. So again, do we then nominate people for that?
Well, in this case, because it's a closed group, like we know each other, it can either be nominate or self-nominate. Yeah. So once we have a list of nominees or self-nominees, that comply to the requirements already talked about,
right?
Then we could just agree, no? Like if we need 4 or 5 or all of us comply to the requirements, maybe we can be all of us. So.
Okay, are there clarifying questions, discussion? Do we want to do a quick round and just go through each of us and have a reaction to this? Jackie, do you have a thought, a reaction that you'd like to share?
I'm so grateful that Jorge went and gave us those requirements, because that does kind of flesh out the responsibility, and I'm vastly underqualified. Technically, now hearing, you know, what it would take, I was about to volunteer and go, oh my gosh, I would have let the group down, because I have no idea about Google Drive or anything like that. So to those of you that can.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Jackie. Patricia?
I am vastly underqualified. So I'm just gonna say I hope somebody in this group can do it. At least, I will just say too that maybe if we can find, if there's only one person in the group that can do it, that maybe they can try to find other people that can help, that we can delegate that responsibility, that they're not necessarily in this group.
Okay, thank you, Patricia. And I do notice that there's a number of chats that have happened since I looked at them. So I'd like to read them before we move on. From Jessica, I didn't include this in the Basecamp tutorial navigation video, but with all of this great work, it may come up. If you need to direct someone to a doc in the Docs and Files, you can click the 3 dots in the top right and click on the line that says something like send this to someone. Hope this is helpful. That is helpful. And then you click people from the list. So there's a pop-up list or pop-down list or whatever that will come up. Yes, and that will definitely come in handy, Jorge says. And Jessica says, thank you. I would not like to volunteer for this. Okay. I was also asking for not only whether or not you were personally qualified to do this, but also if you had any other thing that you wanted to say about this. Nancy, are you ready?
She just did a chat.
Like not me.
Ready for what? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to unmute my phone. What am I ready for?
I noticed that you just did a chat that said not me. So
Yeah.
yes. So you don't have the qualifications. Do you have anything else that you want to add to this, to the discussion about this? Because this is not, I'm not just asking for people to tell us that they're qualified. It's more than that.
You mean, oh, well, I was talking to Suzanne yesterday about I have a design background and I'm really good with designing type and things like that. So we were talking about doing like a newsletter, like to fill up with, and that's something that I would be very good at. Yeah, I also was thinking like, I like messages that are clear and concise and kind of probably may sound dumbed down to everybody else. So I'm really good at that too. Yeah, because sometimes things get really wordy and my head just kind of goes boom. I didn't really know why. It's not that I'm a smart person. I don't think I'm stupid, but I kind of like things to be spared down and made real easy to read and understand. So, but what I'd like to do is whatever I do, I want to run it by somebody. I guess maybe it would be Suzanne, just to make sure that, you know, it's just to bounce things off of someone else and make sure that it's good and appropriate and whatever.
So it sounds like when we get to the point of figuring out who will help write the email that goes out to everyone, the 350 people in Basecamp will be.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Excellent.
Was that the answer? Was that what you were looking for from me, or did I diverge into another zone here? I think I did. Sorry.
That was great.
Okay.
We don't have to, we're just playing in the sandbox.
Right.
We're playing, oh, that sounds good. I like that. Playing the sandbox. That I can handle. Yeah, okay.
All right. Thank you.
I'm going to mute my phone again now.
Okay. Thank you. Shankar, do you have anything to add here?
Yes, I love spreadsheets. So nobody volunteers. I'm fine to sign up. Then I can learn from Jorge too if he has the approach. One more thing also, I thought if we are including everybody in this group, we can go by this whoever wants to commit or whoever is interested. The other way is if things are growing more, managing or assistance is required. Part of the survey, the members onboard survey, we took like a skill survey, like what are people comfortable with. So that is already going into a spreadsheet where you can see who is good in spreadsheet. We can tap those people as a volunteers. So probably we have like an Excel team, spreadsheet team. Then like Nancy said, we can have like if somebody is good in writing, like we can use like a writing team. But that's another place we can tap externally. The third point I want to make was, I remember in the previous meeting, they mentioned about the tutorials. So maybe in the first sheet of this, we can make a tutorial of how to update, how to do. So somebody at least gets an idea. All right, I looked at the 2-minute video. It looks like what I'm supposed to do. I can take care of that. So probably we can do that too. Like the first sheet can be a read me first or tutorial. So like, don't do something in this sheet, what they can do. That might help too. If somebody is interested and they want to learn in the journey.
I keep forgetting to unmute. Okay, that sounds good. And for the next piece that we're going to talk about, the tutorial. So you're in for having responsibility to work on the spreadsheet. So we definitely have you. Yes, perfect. And Benjamin and Suzanne, do either of you want to add something here?
I feel spread too thin to volunteer for the spreadsheet part of it.
But I will help out with the spreadsheet.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, Jorge, you will help out with the spreadsheet. Okay, beautiful. Then we have 3 people. I am not savvy on spreadsheets, Jorge, like you and Sylvie. I divorced myself from Microsoft more than 10 years ago, and I'm not even proficient on numbers. I mean, I use it, but if there are some things that someone thinks I could be helpful with, I will try to do that, but I am not I am not proficient at all. And Jessica says, I could help with anything needed on the message board. I do that on the white paper study group. So in case that need comes up, I am happy to work on the message board and maybe communicate with the people responsible for putting the info from the message board to the doc. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Okay.
Yay!
Yes.
Ah, I'm excited. Wow.
So, but Jorge, I think I saw
Celebration.
that Suzanne was not able to be. It's Shankara, Benjamin, and Jorge. Oh, no, Suzanne, right, okay. Okay, so, but we got those 2 pieces done. I'm very excited that we got those 2 pieces done. We have 17 minutes.
Oh, can we take a deep breath of gratitude or do something as we transition to add a little playfulness just a tiny bit?
Well, that's actually, I would like to ask someone to consider doing something really short that is playful at this moment.
How about this? I got it. Ho ho ho, ha ha ha, hee hee hee. Whee! Ho ho ho, ha ha ha, hee hee hee.
I'm in a store. I can't do that.
Oh, stop. You can't do
I'll
it?
just clap my hands. I'm in a
Okay.
store. I can't really do that.
Everybody, here we go. Ho ho ho, ha ha ha.
I'm driving, I cannot clap too.
Whee!
All right, thank you so much, Patricia. Excellent. So we have 16 minutes left on our call.
Oh my God.
And we have gotten 2 pieces of work done. And I think that moving on, I think, and please jump in if you have a different request here, that moving on to figuring out the tutorial might be a helpful thing to do at this point. I'm a little conflicted. Do we work on the tutorial right now, or do we work on the email that goes to all of Basecamp and figure out who's going to do that? So who wants to talk about the tutorial and putting the tutorial together? Just hold your thumbs up. Okay. And so that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Patricia does not want to work on that. And what would you like to work on, Patricia?
I'm thinking that when we meet next, if we could just get that out of the way so it's not the very, and we have reflection to do, no, reflection maybe. So I'm just thinking in the meeting, when we're going to meet next, just get that out of the way.
There I go again. That's probably a good idea. Let's do that, and then we'll see how much time we have left. So, so we got through really one of the 5 things that we need to do. So I don't think we can wait for an entire week to meet. So help me figure out, do we do a doodle? Do we have a conversation because of the number of people who are on this call? Do we do 2 or 3? Do we split
Sorry for
Yeah.
interrupting, because like I still have pending like where to locate it, like in which account, because right now the file is located in my account. So I would gladly give permission to people to that file, but I think that it requires permission to the drive. And so I would like to touch base with maybe Ray to ask him directly, like if he's willing to open a Google account and give us access to Shankar, Benjamin, and myself. So once that's done, then we can locate the file there and use it as, maybe they have already one, just like, I feel that Ray is the most technical person to ask this question. What do you all think?
I think Benjamin has an answer to that too.
Okay.
I second that opinion, Jorge. If you could ask him, that'd be great. I think that we could use the same accounts for creating our Google Calendar that we're going to be using. So it would just be all around helpful, I think, to have access to a Climate Healers Google account, just general climate. I don't know if that already exists either. That's a good question.
You're already in conversation with Ray about the calendar?
No, not yet.
Okay.
That's something that I've kind of talked about with other people, and we haven't made any decisions on. So, but if there was a Google account that was specifically for the Climate Healers project, it would be helpful in multiple ways.
Cool.
And
Okay.
I would just say, I would propose a doodle, and that if we can't to meet in the next 3 days, and if we can't all meet, you know, we've got some great decisions made, and I propose just a doodle.
Okay, I want to back up for 1 second though, Jorge. Do you want to reach out to Ray, or do you want to give me that task and I'll do my best without understanding? I mean, I would not understand.
I am writing to him right now,
Right.
just to say something quick.
Okay, excellent.
Jessica, if there can be a dual account, we can all use too. That would be helpful. Yeah, but the dual account needs to be individual, because otherwise, well, it depends how it's going to be used. Like, you don't really need an account to use it. Or if, like, what would be the benefit of having a dual account? Like, there's some permissions that open up when you pay for an account, such as having a deadline, or how to integrate that to other software. I mean, for everyone in TH. Well, maybe.
I'm a little concerned because I thought we had decided we need to figure out our next meeting by, and can we just use the same doodle? I mean, is it just can someone volunteer to do a doodle?
Yes, we're having two separate conversations. So Jessica, I think that if you want to reach out to Ray and ask him about having a doodle account for all of Climate Healers, that would be phenomenal. For this particular meeting, I am happy to do a doodle, and I will take the within the next 3 days to try and get a space of time, or even perhaps the next 4 days if we could meet by Monday, so that we have something that we're going back to the Tuesday VCI meeting with. That would be helpful. So I will send out a doodle for the next 4 days. And then I think I will do another one for the next 3 or 4 days after that, so that we have 2 meetings that we're scheduling. I'll do 2 separate doodles, but I don't believe that we will get everything finished in one more meeting. So I will schedule a second one as well. But I'll send one out today. I'll send one out tomorrow, so that we keep them straight.
So Jessica was saying something about it's only free for 2 weeks.
And I have only done one, so that's not a concern for me right now.
I just looked it up. I don't see anywhere that it says we can only use it for 2 weeks. So if Jessica, if you have any more information on that,
maybe offline.
We can talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw that you could use it without having an account. You could use it for free without having an account. You can have an account and you can pay. So there were like 3 options when I went in. But the first one I did was the last one that I did. And so it has not been 2 weeks. So I know I can get this work done right now.
Cool.
And I would just really like to be sure that we prioritize that, our reflection at the end, because I think that is one of the most important parts of the meeting. So
we won't skip that.
Okay.
We will not skip that. Okay.
I have one question. Yeah.
Yes, Shankar.
Okay. So I'm familiar with the doodle. I've used for a couple of years. Just one thought came in my mind. If the doodle is okay too, but if it's more, we are taking oats and like oat and also a suggestion. What we can do is we can do that even in a Google Docs spreadsheet. It's very collaborative. So as long as we put the name of each people and we give a space to put the names, like with the serial numbers, then we come up with a choice on the columns. Just people can go and put yes, something like that. So that also will help to that. But just we have to be familiar whoever is doing, not to mess up the other people details. That's all.
Okay. I cannot remember to mute and unmute. I don't know why I'm having so much difficulty with that on this particular call. Okay. All right. So I think that we will hold on starting any other conversation. We only have 8 minutes left. So I'd like to go ahead and move into our checkout the meeting with. And again, just so that people know, the way that I call on based on the way show on which you don't I don't know how else to, we're all in a room because you just go person to person, but in this way. So anyway, that's what I do. So Patricia, would you like to start?
All right, I'm going to time myself for a minute. First of all, I am just really grateful to you, Anne, because, man, you're juggling a lot. We're kind of all over the map, and you're trying to keep us focused, but you've let us play in the sandbox, and, you know, you're just a gracious facilitator that is allowing us to also facilitate. So I just want to really thank you for taking this huge responsibility. I normally do take a lot of responsibility. I feel like I'm in some ways, the more in the background of this group. However, I'm really glad to be part of it, and I will help as I can. And so I'm just leaving feeling energized. I entered feeling a little bit cloudy, and just really feel like our group is coming together, and it's just so great to see that people are showing up, that the same people show up. So I'm feeling really happy. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Jorge?
I think we are moving forward and getting things done. And I just write a proposal for making a prototype. You can read it on the chat. If you feel good about it, just say yes or no or concerned. And thank you so much for feeling part of something bigger than my own little dramas. Thank you.
So I would like to respond, Jorge. That is an incredibly generous offer to do a prototype of sociocracy process for the VCI vision, mission, aims, and culture proposal forming tutorial, and send it for all of us to look at so that we can begin doing some of this work offline as well as online. And so you have just moved us forward and accepted Shankar's idea. And I think that is absolutely beautiful. And perhaps we can move more and more of the work to happen collaboratively between the meetings and use the meetings just for consent. So let's start there. We'll have another meeting and then maybe we can figure out how to do more of that. And you just showed us all how beautifully that can be done. So thank you, thank you. Nancy, are you ready?
Yeah, I just unmuted myself. Well, I'm just excited to be plugged in this way, and that's pretty much it. I'm just really excited and can't look forward to. I look forward to dumbing things down so we can understand, more people can understand it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, Shankar, are you ready?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Anne. Like almost you make yourself disappear because you keep it very neutral, collecting the opinions, and you give a chance everybody with the clarity. I really like how you steer the meeting. It's amazing. Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. All right, Jessica, I'm going to let you jump in if you want to. I'm going to move to Jackie right now, but then if you want to jump in, you can do so after Jackie.
I'm feeling very blessed. I'm just in awe of the minds, of the innovation, of just the collaboration. And I just feel so blessed to know each and every one of you, to be part of this group, and to just watch this manifest like right before me. It's beautiful. I'm learning so much. I just thank you.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Benjamin and Suzanne, are you ready?
I'm going to repeat everything everyone else said. I'm just really grateful for all of you. I'm grateful that everyone keeps showing up and keeps, playing in this sandbox, seeing what we can make together and co-create. And I think that just continuing to look forward to the work that we're doing together.
Yeah, I'll second everything Benjamin said and everything that's been said before, and especially what Nancy brought up. I'm really excited for the idea of bringing this to the whole Vegan World 2026 group and seeing what kind of co-creation we can all get into together.
All right, thank you. And Jessica says that she doesn't have anything. Thank you. She's eating dinner. So, and Jorge said, enjoy your dinner. Jessica, we all hope that you enjoy your dinner. I want to say that I am feeling satisfied. I came in excited about what we would do. And honestly, there was probably a little trepidation. How much will we really get done? And I think in reflecting back, there's actually a lot that we just got done. And so that there were some very concrete things. There are some ideas for moving more of the work offline. There are offers to do that. People stepped up to the plate for a number of things. And this is a group that is just getting to know each other. And we are slogging through some things that are really difficult. And not particularly playful and not particularly sexy and not particularly whatever. And so the fact that we're continuing to do it is really good. And at the start of these things, I always think we can move faster than we actually can. And yet I think we got a lot done in this past 90 minutes. So I am extremely grateful for everyone. And for those of us on the East Coast, it is in fact 5:30. And so we will be either having dinner or heading off to make our dinner. And the rest of you will be doing that soon. And I will get a doodle out shortly. And I would ask that we do our very best to get into that doodle within the next 24 hours so that we can put something together, because obviously people need some time to look at it before we can do it. So that really cuts down on the time a little bit. So again, thank you to everyone who participated, and have a great evening.
Hey, everybody.
Thank you. See you soon.
Thank you. Thanks,
Bye.
Jorge, for your sociocracy expertise.